A few months ago, I put out my first YouTube video. I animate my first Pokemon Cage Match Nuzlocke, and I have been showered by so much love and support since then. All the comments have really meant a lot to me, and I thank A-Drive for reacting to the animation as well. I encourage anyone who wants to react to feel free to do so. But in the process of making the animated cage lock, I had added several Easter eggs, hidden meanings, or simply things you might have missed while watching the video. So here is a little breakdown of 65 Easter eggs and hidden meanings in the Fire Red animated cage lock. The flag in my name is the asexual flag, a reason for my name as well. I identify as a grey ace, a grey asexual male, therefore Grace. Probably coming as a surprise to most people, because I doubt there are many like me out there, I added Woobat in the introduction to the rules of the Nuzlocke, as Woobat and Swoobat are one of my all-time favorite Pokemon. A weird choice for sure, but it isn't for the sake of their design. I slowly grew to like how derpy and cute Woobat looks, but my main reason for getting so extremely attached to these Pokemon was because of its ability, Simple. I climbed up so much rank on Pokemon Showdown using a simple Swoobat with calm mind and stored power that I just grew too fond of this little heart-nosed bat. The standoff is a reference to the iconic Dragon Ball Z moment between Vegeta and Goku, an anime I grew up watching alongside Pokemon. Both of the Dunsparce are named after the same god of wine, Bacchus, the Roman god for Aoi, and Dionysus, the Greek god for me. Fortress's eyes going into skulls was a poorly animated reference to one of my favorite animated shows, Love, Death and Robots titular animation. The Boulder badge turned into the Boulder badge, as fighters usually seem bold? I don't know what I was thinking here, because I mentioned that he uses only bold nature on his Pokemon, which is actually really bad for fighting types, as it's minus attack and plus in defense. So this Brock variant is a really bad gym leader. The 8 siblings and abs is a joke referencing the fact that Brock does have 8 siblings he takes care of in the anime. Him being a family man is a big part of his arc, so I wanted to reference it for those who are newer fans of Pokemon and didn't know much about Brock to begin with. Outside Mount Moon, we meet Lunala Knight for the first time, obviously taking direct inspiration from Moon Knight, a show I had just finished watching when I started animating this video. The colors of the costume are taken from Lunala's palette. The exterior of the Cerulean City Gym is also in reference to how the building actually looks like in the anime. Misty's gym badge is called the Masquerade badge instead of the original name, the Cascade badge. Misty is infamous for her absolute fear of bugs in the anime, being terrified of spiders especially. So in this dark variant of hers, she embraces that, having a spider tattoo on her arm. We also know that one of her most iconic Pokemon in the anime was the Togepi, a Gen 2 Pokemon that appeared in Generation 1, being a normal type for 5 generations before it turned into a fairy type. Considering dark and fairy are polar opposites, this Misty would be so disgusted to own any fairy type Pokemon that she instantly released the Togepi after it hatched. Or maybe she made some scrambled eggs. Who knows? A more obvious one, but Diglett's cave is shaped like a Diglett, an opportunity missed by the anime. Gary Oak's design was simply given a sailor's hat to reference the fact that in our animation, Gary was a pure water type trainer. Casper in this battle has a bandage on her egg due to the aftermath of the cage match with Balthazar, where both their eggs cracked. Just a cute little attention to detail. Casper's gravestone reads head plus butter. Head butter, due to the merciless way she killed Balthazar. The exterior of the Vermilion City Gym is also taken from the anime with grassy changes. The Thunder badge that you would usually get was turned into the Hunter badge. Even though Lieutenant Surge was a war veteran, the thing everyone remembers about him is simply the horrible gym puzzle of this generation. But being a grass type gym leader didn't change much, but the fact that the bins were actually recycle bins. Good for you, Surge. Also, Surge was given floral tattoos that went across his arms up to his face. I am simply a huge fan of tattoos, having a few myself, and I thought the tattoos really added a lot to his character. Heffy's gravestone reads, "Died chasing a cloister." Heffy did die, falling in love with a female Delkity. Make of that what you will. The Rock Tunnel obviously has a huge statue of The Rock at the entrance. I am a huge pro wrestling fan. And before any of you bombard this in the comments, yes, I know it is fake. But come on, it's literally named The Rock Tunnel. I had to do it. My Spinda was named Topin. This was an absolute typo. I was actually naming him Tobin after the PokeTuber Short Tempered. And I didn't realize at the moment how important Topin was going to be in this entire run. Sorry Tobin, maybe next time. Even after being veterans to the Gen 1 games at this point, I remember during recording, we were lost in the Rock Tunnel for ages. Both of us had forgotten to pick up Flash at first, and then we went back to get it. It just took so long for us to finish the entire Rock Tunnel that it felt like months must have passed in game. This was the reason I added facial hair to my character when I got my Bagon after leaving Rock Tunnel. Erica's gym badge had the weirdest name of all. Originally, it is simply called the Rainbow Badge, but in this universe, it for some reason is called the Circumhorizontal Arc Badge. Why, you may ask? Well, if you search for what a circumhorizontal arc is, a circumhorizontal arc is an optical phenomenon that belongs to the family of ice halos formed by the refraction of sunlight or moonlight in plate-shaped ice crystals suspended in the atmosphere, typically in cirrus or cirrostratus clouds. But what does any of that have to do with a fire-type gem? Well, it is sometimes also called a fire rainbow because it looks like flame of rainbows in the sky. I also say that she owns a terrace garden, formerly being a grass-type gem, but enjoys burning grass with her Pokemon. Who knows what that means? I certainly don't. My Hitmonchan was named Balor, as a reference to Finn Balor, my all-time favorite pro wrestler. One of the icons in the casino lottery machine is Jaden's face. Just a little wink at the inspiration to this entire video. The final lottery icons are obviously pointing at the Pokemon I won. A fire horse with a horn, the Rapidash Spades. A notification from Reddit on the phone shows a copypasta thread about Vaporeon. The amount of times my friends have shared this link or mentioned this copypasta to me has disturbed me to no end. So here it is. I share my pain with you now. And if you don't know what the copypasta is, please don't search for it. This Weezing was the only Pokemon I had made design changes to in this entire animation. Other than the deadshot eyes, the normal Weezing has a minimal skull and bones on its chest, while the Wonder Guard Weezing was designed to have a Shedinja silhouette on it instead. We were surprised that the next two gym leaders didn't swap types, which also made it harder to make variants of the design. As of Gold and Silver, we know that Koga moves on to become an Elite Four member, while his daughter Janine takes over the gym. Here, Janine gets fame as a ninja influencer, as a reference to Ninja, the Twitch star, making Koga take over the gym again. The gym badge is a reference to Disney's film Soul, one of the most beautifully animated films in the past few years. All of Koga's Pokemons are Naruto themed, with Kakuna wearing the headband with the poison symbol on it. The Seviper also had its design changed, with the tail that usually looks like a blade turned into a kunai. The layout of the buildings behind Blaziken and Spinda are the exact way the buildings are in the games. The gym, followed by 2 random houses and a Pokemon Center. The building design of Silph isn't from the original games or Let's Go, but instead the stadium design of Silph from Super Smash Bros. It used to be one of my favorite games on the N64 to play as a kid. Going back to the start, even though Pidgey seemed like the lamest choice to pick, I went with her because I have a very strong bond with Pidgeot, even prior to this run. You see, a Mega Pidgeot named Vistara was my ace in my first Radical Red playthrough, and I got so attached to the Pokemon, it turned into one of my absolute favorites. So coming into this, I had to name it Vistara and pick it. Vistara is a reference to an Indian airlines company of the same name. And when Vistara died, Spinda's Vistara punch to knock out Team Rocket has the Vistara logo form in his hand. The holes in the wall were the rest of Giovanni's team: a Horsey, a Kingler, a Krabby, and the Sphere. Even though the type didn't change, Sabrina was my favorite gym leader variant design I made in this entire video. A reference to Sabrina the Teenage Witch from the Archie's comics. Even the Marsh badge becomes the Marshtail badge, an homage to Riverdale. Sabrina the Teenage Witch is famous for having her talking black cat Salem, which seemed like the perfect opportunity to give her Team Rocket's talking Meowth in this variant universe. The Grumpig mentions wanting to be born as a Lechonk in his next life, the most superior pig Pokemon of all. After the Grumpig cage match, till we beat Plane, I completely lost the recording of our gameplay. This was the reason why I couldn't showcase any in-game clips of the gym fight or the legendary encounters. My Mew was named GBL after my favorite PokeTuber Game Boy Luke, as Mew is his favorite Pokemon. I also gave my Mew Luke's merch and glasses to make him look even more cute. Plane was designed after Davion the Dragon Knight from the Dota 2 anime. If there is any game I love more than Pokemon, it's Dota. So I had to add it one way or the other. The name of the badge is the Dungeon Badge, as a reference to Dungeons and Dragons, another one of my favorite games of all times. Blaine was the officiant at the wedding of 2 Rayquazas, the same 2 Rayquazas he uses to destroy my team. Many, including A-Drive, asked why I was sending a Pokemon from my PC and not Spinda, as in Cage Locks you usually send a Pokemon from your gym party.
Oh man. And the way we always did the cage match is where whatever you have left on your team after the gym battle, you have to use that. So you don't get to go to your PC and get like filler Pokemon. So he's got to send in his Spinda or...
I had to get him on from my PC, as my team was entirely dead. And
oh, because it's a double
no
battle,
hopes going
right? Or no?
I had caught a Nidoking sometime earlier, which I decided to
Yeah,
send
so
in.
it's funny that I just said that segue because generally he would have to go into it with just one Pokemon, is the way we always did the rule.
But we had to make an exception in this case. You see, we had made a rule for our run that a Pokemon was only allowed to show up once in a cage match, excluding the final fight. Even though in normal cage lock rules, you're allowed to send a Pokemon twice. This was done because I didn't want to repeat Pokemon for cage match animations, being able to showcase and animate a unique Pokemon each time. Therefore, as Spinda had already won a cage match and the rest of my party was dead, we decided I was allowed to get a Pokemon from my PC. I never knew this before I had to animate and draw this sequence, but in the canon of Fire Red, the ship that takes you to the Sevi Islands is called SS Sea Gallop. Also, if you didn't notice by now, the visual of me with Topin and my Nidoking with the Shelder is a reference to the iconic scene from Titanic. The Earth badge becomes the Blue Planet badge for Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket, who took over Team Aqua in a merger acquisition where they rebranded themselves as Team Aqua Rocket. His Mewtwo project was ambushed by a yellow-caped vigilante, a reference to the Lunala Knight we met earlier, who broke Mewtwo free from Team Aqua and Rocket and later went on to catch it with a Master Ball in the post-credit scene. When we see the ghosts of all the Pokemon we lost on our journey, the visuals showcase the way they died. Casper holding the frying pan that she used to beat herself to death, Heffy holding the photo of his long-lost love Delkitty, Vistara losing her wing after the Regirock explosion, Ballard, who also lost a limb in the same explosion, and Ashoka, who turned into a crab salad after being fried by Mrs. Rayquaza. The League Trophy is the Master Rank Trophy from Pokemon Unite, a game I was so excited for, being a fusion of my two favorite games, Dota and Pokemon. I just wanted to clarify why this Sneasel was on my team because it stands out as such a weak link. We had to go for a 6v6 cage match with the team we took into the Elite Four. And so I wasn't just preparing for the Elite Four and the champion, but also against Aui's team. I knew I had a way to beat most of his team except his Jirachi. I had seen him spam Cosmic Power and sweep so many fights that I had to figure a way out. My Sneasel's ability was Magnet Pull, which would prevent Jirachi from ever switching out, and with Taunt I could prevent him from setting up while his dark moves could deal with Fife. This was the only reason I added Frieza to the team. Not that it mattered. Lorelei's design was based off Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians, but instead of Dalmatians, she just owns 101 Houndours. Now that's a Disney show to watch. Bruno is based off of Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas, another beautifully animated film from my childhood. Agatha is a weird variant of the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four. In this universe, Kanto's first Elite Four, which was then known as the Fantastic Four, included Professor Oak, Kurt, Mr. Pokemon, and Agatha. Wouldn't that be a weird Elite Four to go through? Because I lost in the third Elite Four member, no one got to meet Lance, which was a shame. Lance was a fighting type Elite Four that went by the wrestling name Armstrong. His team included a Hariyama, a Hitmonchan, a Poliwrath, a Machoke, and a Primeape. In the crowd, I added all the Poketubers I absolutely cherish and look up to. In the front is Purple Cliff and United Gamer. Behind him are Jaden, MNJTV, and Moxie2D. On the other side, we have Pokemon Challenges, Munching Orange, and Smalland. And finally, the unknown text at the end reads, "Meanwhile, somewhere in Cerulean Cave, a battle ensues. But only one can be the true victor. For them awaits power beyond human or Pokemon comprehension. But who does the man of the prophecy truly work for?" And the second message reads, "The Nuzlocke will return, and so will the Lunala Knight." Those were the 65 Easter eggs or hidden meanings you might have missed from the Cagelock animation of Fire Red. And talking about Nuzlocke's returning, here is a sneak peek for what's to come next.